Hey, Michelle, what's shaking?
Hey, Lindsay, not too much. How's it going with you?
Going pretty well. What's new around the block? What's going on?
Well, I mean, I was just thinking, one of the things I love about my neighborhood is that I always run into friends. Like, actually, just yesterday, I ran into my friend Liz, and I hadn't seen her in a little while because I've been away and
Oh, that's
and my
awesome.
kids were sick. And so I just ran into her on the corner, and I just love that. Like, Lindsay, does that happen to you in your neighborhood a lot? Do you just run into people?
Not really, but when I walk my dog, like my dog has
Yeah.
his friends, right? So like I know the dog moms and the dog dads, and so we
Uh-huh.
kind of like we're acquaintances and we chat and that kind of thing. So in that sense, yes, but not actual like friends. I although the other day I did run in a couple of our friends who live down the street. They popped in just to say hi. I wasn't home, but I was just coming home, so I saw them on the
Yeah.
corner. So yeah, I guess that can happen.
Oh, so were they already leaving when you saw them on the corner?
Yeah, they have a new baby, so they had to get her home
Oh.
for like it was like 6, it was bedtime. But they had just stopped by to see if I was home or if we were home. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice, that's nice.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
it's some of a bygone era, right? And something that people don't do as much anymore is just stop by and just like say hi, right?
Right. No, that is true. Yeah, it's kind of not done that frequently. 1 second, my battery is running low even though I was certain I was plugged in. Let me just do
Oh,
that, but it's right here. Anyway, so but it is fun always for me when I run into friends. I love that. And it does happen a lot. So here we go. But today we have a great listener question about running into people and things like that. But we'll get into it in a second. Guys,
yes.
Lindsay, what do we want to remind our listeners?
Well, we just want to let you guys know that there's another way to consume All Ears English, and that is inside our iOS or Android app. If you consume the show in there, you get all of the episodes just as you do here, but you get to tap on key vocabulary words. You get to see transcripts. If you're a premium member, create your power list of words to study. So you
Yes.
do get to go a couple levels deeper with the show, right, Michelle?
Absolutely. I know. I love that with their own power list because I know
Yeah.
for me, I would be just writing things down on little slips of paper and losing them. And here it's just all
Right.
all together. So I love that
Yeah.
feature.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
exactly. That's why hundreds of users are already over there as premium
Yeah.
users inside the app. They found a way to go deeper with All Ears English. So if you guys want to check out what that's all about, there's a 7-day free trial for it. Go over to allearsenglish.com/app and you can always listen to the podcast over there for free as well. So that's fantastic. Yes.
Wonderful. All right. So we have a listener question from Felicity today. Lindsay, would you like to read it?
Felicity, I love that name.
Me
Fantastic. Here we
too.
go. Hi,
Yeah.
Lindsay and Michelle. Your podcast is stunning. Not only the fact that you publish constantly makes it special, but the
Aw.
way you convey all the information about English and American culture is literally unique. Michelle, that is
Aw.
such a nice piece
Isn't
of
that
feedback.
nice? I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it. And here's a question. By the way, I came across two different phrasal verbs run into somebody and bump into someone. And I tried to figure out how they're different from each other, but with no specific result. Could you please elaborate on that? Thank you for always being there and answering our questions,
Oh,
Felicity. Oh, that's a lovely message.
I
Lovely little
know.
letter. We love your letters, guys. Send us letters.
Yes, thank you, Felicity. That is so, so nice. So we appreciate that. And it's also a great question.
It's a great
Um,
question.
it
Yeah.
is. It is. So, guys, we want to direct you over also to All Ears English episode 1070 was It's Been a Minute, How to Connect When You Run Into Someone.
It's been a minute. I love that expression. Check out that episode. Go over there. So let's get into this particular question from
Yes.
Felicity today. So let's just break it right down here,
Yeah.
Michelle. Let's start with run into. What does it mean?
So, okay, run into is to unexpectedly meet someone or maybe have some trouble. There's a few different definitions. So you can, the idea is that you like probably don't expect it, right? So you didn't expect to meet someone, you didn't expect to have some trouble, or you physically might run into something and it's probably painful. But
Well,
let's
that's
give
kind of
some
what
examples.
well, I
Yeah.
was just gonna say that's kind of what you were saying in the last episode in 2048 that we recorded about stubbing your toe.
Yeah, I'm always running into the bed, yeah. So, but there I don't mean that I'm unexpectedly meeting it, although I guess I kinda do, So,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
but alright, so let's give some examples here. So to unexpectedly meet someone, an example would be what?
Okay. I ran into my old teacher at the mall. So
Mhm.
you did, you're just doing your shopping, maybe for back to school or
Yeah.
something, and all of a sudden, there's your old teacher. It's a
Yeah.
surprise. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And then about having some trouble could be I ran into some problems when I was trying to upload the files.
So that's not a physical running into a problem physically, but you encountered some problems,
Mhm,
right?
mhm. And then what's a physical interaction,
Oh,
Lindsay?
this is this is so fun. I ran into the sliding glass door when I wasn't looking. I'm sure we all have our stories.
Ouch.
I'm sure we all have our stories.
Ouch. Yeah,
I
exactly.
know. I've done a few things like this. I can't think of one specific time, but I know, like, there's been times when I've just been walking down the street
Of
paying no
course.
attention, and you
Oh, of
you
course.
walk into, like, a sign or a
Yeah.
telephone pole or
Yes,
something,
exactly,
and then you kinda
exactly.
look around. Did anyone
Does
see
anybody ever
that?
say That's right.
Okay, Michelle. So that's run into. I feel like this is going to be challenging today because I think they're pretty similar in a lot of ways. So we've got
Uh-huh,
to break down the
uh-huh.
differences for our listeners. Bumped into.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Right, so, well, I think that this is almost the same, just like what you said, Lindsay. However, there are times when it doesn't work, right? Like, I would say I ran into some problems, but I wouldn't say I bumped into some problems, right? So, I think
Right.
the second part where you're having some trouble, um, I don't really think that you would say bumped
No,
into,
no, no, no,
right? So
no.
that one I would just kinda X that out. I mean, maybe it's possible sometimes it would make sense, but basically, I wouldn't say like, "Oh, I bumped into an issue with my computer." I would say I
No.
ran into it just
So,
sounds better.
so it sounds like we're saying that bumped into is only physical. Is that right? Whereas run into could be physical or
Yeah,
logistically,
yeah, I think that
probably, right?
that's a good takeaway from it. Yeah, because the other 2 definitions I would use. So, like, the one about the teacher, I bumped into my old teacher at the mall. Um, so the interesting thing in here is it sounds like you may have actually, like, bumped into the teacher, but it really depends on the context. So we're going to talk about that more in just a second. But yeah, you could say I bumped into my old teacher at the mall to mean I unexpectedly met this teacher, right? Or what about the
Yeah.
sliding glass door, Lindsay?
Okay, so it would work here too. So I bumped into the sliding glass door when I wasn't looking. Um,
Mhm.
so but what's it how does run into the sliding glass door versus bumped into sound different? How does it feel a little bit different?
I think, and if guys, if you're watching on YouTube, like it's like I'm not gonna run into a door, but
It's like a cartoon or something, right?
yeah, but like a run it, it's like you're like actually like it's with more for like bump seems like oops, like I like oh like
A little more dainty.
yeah,
Okay.
oh I bumped into it, right? Yeah, so but yeah, I think basically to run into is more about I think the run into is used more about meeting and bumped into seems a little bit more physical, like sorry I bumped into you. However, they're kind of interchangeable. What do you think?
I think they're pretty interchangeable. I would say usually bumped into tends more towards the physical and ran is a little more broad. Ran into could be like you encounter or it could be physical at the same time. Yeah?
Right. Right, right.
Yeah.
Like, and ran into like the door, that's more sounds like you're like
Ran
plowing through the door, where
it kind
bumped
of
might be more slight.
But yeah, I think run into implies there's more steam behind you. Like there's more
Yeah.
momentum. There's more momentum with which you're throwing your body weight into
Right.
this thing. Whereas bumped,
True.
you don't have much. You just want to turn around. Like we use bumped into someone at a concert, for example. You're
Yeah.
constantly bumping into people or a line in an airport, hotel,
I
or
was
the
thinking
airport.
airport too. I was
Airport,
thinking
for
airport
some
too.
reason,
Yeah.
airport, right?
Yeah.
Or, and this is interesting culturally speaking. Oh my gosh. Yes, I remember, was it I think when I were coming back from we were in Argentina, we realized that, norms around body space are much different and body
Yeah.
contact in public.
Okay.
So, there was a lot of, people kind of bumping us to get to their bags on the belt. And I was like, "Oh, man," like, and I knew it was cultural, I knew it was different,
Yeah.
but I did get frustrated, going back to frustration, right,
Yes.
from a few episodes ago. There are those moments when we travel abroad that we realize the world has different values and norms around physically sort of
Yeah.
getting close and moving to make your own space. I think in American culture, it's not okay to what would
Yeah.
you say, Michelle?
Yes, I would say, and
Yeah.
if you're gonna start bumping people, like,
Yeah.
people get upset,
It's
like,
not
so
good.
it's
But
not
we
yeah.
were in Argentina in this case, so I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just kinda have to realize and not, like yeah,
Yeah.
I think the physical cultural differences can be some of the more difficult ones
Yeah.
to adjust to because you're like, "Wait, what? Like,
What's
I'm not gonna bump
happening?
into
Right.
people, right?"
It's like you think about it now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when it happens to you, you're like
Right.
it's very stark. You're like, "Oh my gosh, that person just bumped me to get to their bag. I can't even believe it." It's
Yeah.
really interesting. So,
Yeah,
bump
that
into
is.
is used more in that context. Concerts, airport lines, getting your bag from an a airline belt, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right, right, right. Yeah, right, exactly. So I think to run into is more about this spontaneous meeting, where bumped into might be a little more physical, but both can be used for meeting someone. So you can say I ran into my friend at the store or I bumped into my friend at the store. It's
Right.
they're
Right.
both okay. But it would I mean it would like Lindsay you said run into is physically with more force, more momentum, and I was thinking bump into is more of like a bounce, right? Like
Or a
I
shoulder thing.
right, like,
Yeah.
"Oop," right? Like, I ran into that tree when I wasn't looking, or I bumped into that tree. A little bit but which one do you think would hurt more?
Ran into, no
Right.
question. For some
Yeah.
reason, I can't stop thinking when I think about run into, I can't stop getting the image of Speed 1 out of my head. I don't know why. Speed, like, who was the guy, the actor in it? Not Nicolas Cage. Was it Nicolas Cage? He's, like,
Uh,
always running the bus. He, like, took the bus, right, with,
I never
uh
saw it,
you never
but
saw Speed?
I know it was huge. So that's Sandra Bullock, right?
Sandra Bullock
Yeah.
and Keanu Reeves, I think. Keanu Reeves. Has to be that.
Ah.
I feel like they're always running like, they took a bus and they went crazy all over the city. That's running the bus into something or running into things, running after things, not bumping. It's not a gentle
Right,
bump.
right, right. So, should I see Speed?
Probably because it's a classic icon, or you probably
Yeah.
should. It's a '90s movie, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
Alright.
think you gotta go back and see the icon,
Alright, I'll do
Michelle.
it, I'll do it. But yeah, I mean, and then like we said, you can if you talk about like issues coming up. I ran into a few tech issues, but the presentation went well overall. So,
Yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I think that we went over some of the basic differences here.
Yeah, should we do a role play for our listeners?
Let's do it.
Alright, so we are at the gym. Oh, okay.
Alright.
Mm.
Okay, here we go.
Wow, I didn't know you go to this gym too.
Yeah, so funny running into you.
Yeah, how are you?
Just okay. I ran into the wall at my house and broke my wrist.
Oh, no. Ouch. It's amazing you still made it to the gym.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm on the mend.
I bumped into a glass door the other day, but it wasn't too bad.
Glad you're okay.
Yeah, I feel like I always run into these situations too. Clumsy at times.
Same.
The situation is hilarious because it's so unlikely. Like, first of all, you walked into a wall, unlikely, but could happen at your house. And then you went to the gym, Michelle, right? Less
Right.
likely too.
Right. Oh,
I'm teasing you here a little bit.
Lindsay, that's mean. That was mean. No, that's okay. Yeah, if that's true. So
It's
we
funny.
really had to get into character for this
Yeah,
one,
we
you know.
did. We did. So let's go through it. Let's go through it.
So okay, you're funny. So okay, I said so funny running into you. Now I didn't
Yes.
actually smack into you, right?
Right, right. And
Um,
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, in this case, we're not really talking about that physical encounter with all that momentum behind it, right? We're talking about we saw each other,
right,
right?
right,
Yes.
right, right. And then
Mhm.
yeah, and then what?
All right, and then I said, "Ah, just okay. I ran into the wall at my house and broke my wrist." Oof, that must have been a bad one. Yeah.
That must have been a bad one. And then you said, you were relating to me. The two of us, I don't know what's wrong. I bumped into a glass door the other day, but it wasn't too bad. So see, like you said, I bumped into it. It wasn't too bad. Like,
Okay.
maybe,
So
just like a bounce. You bounced off of it.
right. So that's contrasting your run-in with the wall,
And I
right? With
broke my
mine,
wrist. Yeah.
it's like slightly less, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lighter encounter, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. And
Uh,
then yeah, and then what did you say?
and then I said, "Yeah, I feel like I always run into these situations." That's interesting, right? It's kind of a pun there a little bit. Um,
True, that's true.
yeah, you wrote a pun without even sometimes we use
I
puns without
did.
even realizing it. Run because
Yep.
we're using hopefully our listeners get why that's a pun after the episode, right? It's physically encountering walls in the house or glass doors
Yeah.
and encountering these situations. I love that. Maybe that'll have
Yep.
to be part of our title. We'll have to see what we can come up with here.
Ooh, all right,
Yes.
awesome. Well, so yeah, guys, you can see. I mean, the takeaway for today is these are they can be very similar, but there are some key differences. I would think bump. When I if I wanted to remember it, I would think bump bounce. Right,
Ooh,
like
bump
I kind of
bounce.
bounced into some right the two B's. Right, run into is with more force and more about encountering problems, but they can both mostly be used for the just like meeting someone unexpectedly.
Yeah,
But I
love
think
it.
run into is used a little bit more frequently for that. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I love it. I think those are the key differences right there. I hope it's clear, guys. If it's not, go back, get the app, get the iOS app, go to All Ears English or Android, go to allearsenglish.com/app and listen to
Mhm.
this episode again, maybe with the transcripts, with the
Yes.
power list, add these words to your power list. Really get this because it does matter, right? These are the nuances that get us to that high level of connection and fluency, right, Michelle?
That's right, Lindsay. So guys, we hope you don't run into any glass doors today. Everyone stay safe. And but we will see you in the next episode.
All right, take care, Michelle. Bye.
Bye.